Okay, so Arts and Sciences Night in Audientum, October 11th. And tonight we're going to be working on site tokens for 12th night. And Donald Dansdale did a beautiful job creating the prototype, which is a laurel leaf and reads, and let me see if I can get this lighting. Ha! Reads on tier, but of course
Cool.
it's backwards for you. And then he made us some molds out of this putty type stuff. And we poured a couple of prototypes out of resin. And we did have some difficulty. We've learned that it's kind of finicky about how it's mixed and about how long it sets. So the first ones we mixed, we thought they weren't going to set up at all. So we dumped them out, cleaned everything up, poured again. And this is the second ones we poured while Don and Murin, no, not Murin. Tell me your ladies.
Merwin.
Say again.
Merwin.
Merwin. I've got Murin and Merwin. You guys are trying to kill me here. Okay, so so while they were here the other day, we practiced. The first ones we poured didn't set up at all within 15-20 minutes. So we cleaned them up, poured some more, and these were what we poured then. And they didn't set up, and we decided to let them set overnight and see what would happen. So I let them set for 22 hours. And they turned out rather nicely, but you probably can't see well enough on this camera. There's a little bit of the yellow from the molds that stuck to every surface. Now, we're going to be dyeing these so that they look like amber. So that might hide the yellow. My other thought is if I leave them in the mold the full 24 hours that they take to really get hard, then probably that won't happen. When I took these out, I could bend them like a gummy eraser. They were still pliable. So that's where we're at.
So is the dyeing something that you do after it's hardened, or do you mix it in with the resin when you're pouring it?
The dye gets mixed into the resin.
Okay.
But not wanting to waste any product, we didn't put dye in the prototypes.
Right.
So Don managed to make us 8 functional molds. He said he had one that didn't turn out, so 9 out of a box. We have just until 12th night to make 800.
Wow.
And if they take 24 hours with just these molds, we're going to be way short.
Right.
So we're making more. I have 2 more boxes.
Okay.
That's what we're going to be doing tonight. You get to watch me play with this. It comes as a 2-part, like a silly putty, and you work it together until it's completely blended. And I think it said you have 15 to 20 minutes to set it up once it's blended, to get it rolled out and your mold made. So the theory.
No, that's not right. You have 3 to 4 minutes of work time, and then it takes 15 to 20 minutes to cure and where it looks like that.
Okay, so 2 or 3 minutes to work it until it's mixed together, right? That's the work time, it says.
Yeah.
And then demold is 15 to 20 minutes. So we've got 15, 20 minutes to get it rolled out and stamped with our molds. Did that make sense? Don?
Yeah, I believe that's going to work.
Okay.
If they'll take the stamps, then that should work.
Yeah, if it doesn't, we're going to have a frantic scramble. That's what we'll have. Because I hate to waste anything. Welcome, Brynjar. So
how much did that putty stuff cost?
It was $23 or $24, I think, for a box. And I have 2 more of this one and 1 more to do. And the hope is we can get a dozen molds out of each one if we roll it as a full sheet and do like cookie cutter imprints and leave it sheet so they can be much closer together.
You have the keys to my bike lock.
That makes sense.
I don't have the keys to your bike lock. I'm sorry.
Hey, they can hear you guys. Can you?
So
Sorry about that.
that's all right. If I can manipulate this so that we can get a dozen molds out of each box, that'll give us 2 dozen plus these. That's about 30 or 32 to work with. If we can pour
Right.
once a day, 32 a day, we'll have it done in a month. Because we need 800 minimum.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. So that's where we're at tonight. We're going to, oh, this is funky stuff. I'm going to bring a cookie tray up here to roll on because I think it might stick to the table a little bit. So I'm going to move our beauties out of the way here. How did you get it out of the bottle, Dawn?
Scoop it out with your finger.
My finger's not that long.
Try a spoon or wooden
Huh.
something.
It is kind of like silly putty.
Yep.
Maybe I'll use one of these chopsticks I've got. Once this is put together, it's kind of nifty because you can make any kind of shape. So once we learn how to do this all together, we can start creating all kinds of things.
And it's food safe too.
Yep. So
Wow.
you could make cookie molds or candy molds. You could put, oh, you could make some beautiful things with marzipan for feasts.
Oh, yeah.
So this has potential to become quite an activity for the barony, or for each of us individually. Don't want to waste any of that. We'll pull it out of the lid too. It's kind of damp feeling. It's not, but it's got that wet feeling to it. I don't know what to compare it to. That's the cookie tray. All right. It is very soft. Maybe we'll do a folding like, what do you call that? Fluffy, flaky bread. Somebody want to set a 3-minute timer on their phone? Make sure I don't go past its working time. Do I have a volunteer to set a timer?
I don't really know what I'm doing.
Hi, Brenier. Working out of town, I have some concentrate dye for acrylics, if it would be helpful. We do have some amber colored dye. These are going to be created so they look like amber laurel leaves. But thank you. We should have plenty. Marion donated the dye. Okay. I don't see any bits of white in here. I think it's mixed pretty well. I'm going to try rolling it out with my grandmother's rolling pin. She never anticipated it would be used for such a thing. I don't use it anymore for food, so it'd be okay to use for this. Now I'm going to use these chopsticks as my guide for the sides. Go too deep, make it too shallow, as it were. We're going to have to turn my cookie sheet. I'm all over the place. All right. Ruler here so I can square it up a little bit. That might give us a more workable space. Back to the chopsticks. I'm open for any advice from anyone, or a good story while we roll clay. Have any of you poured acrylic before?
I never have. No.
I'm trying to bring it in so it doesn't waste any little bumps sticking out where we can't pour.
All right, it's been about 3 minutes.
Okay, well, that was the mix time and we got it mixed before
God
that. So
damn
good.
it.
Well, okay.
That was probably mine. It was an online timer. Sorry.
No,
All
I
right.
was just looking at the clock.
So if we've got somebody who could time us for another, if we've used 3, it's time for 15 from here. Let's see.
Let's see. 5, 10.
Stay down there. Don't stick to my rolling pin. You've been so nice. Now you're not being nice. Yes. I don't know. We have a dilemma here. Is it's garbage night? Is it recycle or is it yard debris? You can look for Santa Pack on my phone and find that. Dilemmas of life, right? Okay. We're getting closer to a rectangle. Down. No sticky. Thank you. Just gonna see what this does for us. It's going a lot faster than I thought it would. I think we'll easily make it in our work time. Okay. So where is our prototype? We may need baby powder. Do you have any baby powder, Catherine? We're going to try layout. Now it's long enough I can do. If I angle them, I can do it too that way. We're going to put a little baby powder on the.
This.
Yeah.
It was open.
Oh, okay. Put a little baby powder on the mold. Hoping that it won't stick.
Pardon me.
I don't know what you're drinking, but I want some. Okay, let's see if this works. You're in.
For applying baby powder to large areas, a flour sifter works really good.
I don't need it on a large area. I just need it on the mold, on the prototype. So I'm just kind of dusting it in the baby powder.
Right. What I'm saying is you can dust it over your form. So when you press your mold down, you don't have to reapply.
Ah, that's too clever.
The only other thing is if there is any kind of stickiness, reapplying baby powder over and over to your mold can create buildup. So you lose some of your detail.
Yeah, it's not sticking to it now, it still looks quite clean.
Good, great. Then it's not an issue. Just offering ideas. Sorry.
Oh, I'm open for anything. We're all just swimming in
How's
the
the-
dark here.
How's the indentation looking?
They're looking good. It's going in deep enough. Catherine of the Lakes brought me a pair of tweezers. I am doing it again because I want to make sure it's as deep as it needs to be. Yeah, Kat?
In the future, I would recommend you don't redo it because as you pushed it.
Yeah, I
in
see that
again,
one got a double imprint.
So did this one. So just make sure you push it in far enough the first time.
Okay. Going to try this without reapplying baby powder.
If you have a hot glue stick, you could probably stick it to the back of it and use it like a stamp.
Oh, have a handle.
Well,
You're too
yeah,
smart.
I just didn't think you wanted to ruin that
Okay,
one.
the baby powder is definitely needed. It did not want to come out of there. So that's
Deep enough,
3.
is it?
I pushed it in until the sides were even with the top of the clay.
That's what I did too.
the putty.
Okay. Just looks like that is really flat. Isn't deep enough.
Catherine's suggesting that that third one's not quite deep enough. I'm going to try that again. How are we doing on time?
I think it's been about 5 minutes.
Okay, so we've still got a little time left.
Yeah.
That's a personal thing.
Okay.
Okay.
A little more baby powder on my tray, will you, Kat? All right, so now I'm going to flip it around. See if that. Okay.
Okay.
Can get them closer together this way using them on a sheet. So there's less waste in between. So next time, definitely, it needs to have something glued to the back as a handle. The tweezers are working, but they're a little inconvenient. And I think I've wasted that space by the way I put these in.
Grab yourself a button you want to duplicate.
Yeah, why waste it, right? Okay. Leave space in between. Sorry about the dog barking. Okay. Maybe I'll come up here and run these together. That'll be less waste maybe. Oh, now look, do you see what that did? When I pushed it in, it made this one narrower because it shifted the stuff between
Yeah.
quite a bit narrower. Let's see if this will fix it or not.
Just call them unique.
I think that's just gonna.
It's going to keep doing it to the next one. So we have one wasted here. Need more space in between. I can't be as frugal as I was trying to be. Give it about a 1/4 inch. That did not go in deep enough. putty is getting a little more rubbery as time passes here. Okay. Leave about a 1/4 inch between, I think, is helping, where it's not shoving the other one out of shape, adjacent one. Baby powder definitely matters. Ryder, no. Hey, hush. Come here. Come here. Great, ferocious beast. Well, I don't think I'm going to get another 2 out of there. This one is much deeper than these last few. And I'm fairly confident that the putty is the same depth, but I think as it's hardening, they're not getting as good a bite. It's more resistant. I'll go back and try to redo that one.
Do you think it would be possible to mix like half a batch of the putty and then do the
Yep.
impressions and then the second
Yep.
half?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Don said he weighed each portion that he made.
Ah,
He was sure he was getting an even mix.
right.
I don't have a little scale like that real handy, but I think that might be the wise decision.
Yeah.
Now, these last few were not as responsive. I'm gonna push it in a little bit. Encourage it.
I think your work time's getting rougher.
I do think so, yes. Okay. Well, clearly the first few went in much deeper and held their shape. Their edges were more straight. So definitely making a partial batch rather than all at once was the way to go.
Yeah, that's
I'm going to try and encourage these to be a little deeper and see what we get. It's still pliable, but it's rubbery, so it's springing back. And that's the wasted one. Well, lessons learned. This is definitely time sensitive. And Don's idea of doing it individually, while it used more putty for each one, got a better mold, I think.
Yeah.
Yep, that one. Do that. Nope, it is beyond redoing. It's quite rigid.
Works. Buddy.
Sorry I'm late. How did you roll out the slab?
I used a rolling pin and chopsticks beside it
Yep, okay.
to make sure it didn't get too shallow. But we've learned that this sets up pretty quick. It's pretty rubbery now.
Yep,
And as I progressed, they got less and less
crisp, yeah.
crisp, yeah. And because they're not crisp enough, I'm going ahead and risking being aggressive with it again. I may need to buy another box.
That's always a possibility. And you
Yep.
just have to say, well,
Lesson
I
learned.
chalked that one up to, yeah, absolutely.
We do have another box here, but we need to make a good number of these to make it a feasible plan. Because they take a full 24 hours to really get set up good and hard. So since you're late,
Awesome.
these did not get the amber dye added because they were prototypes. Okay, well, we have learned together.
I think it will be interesting just seeing if you could tell the difference once they've been, once you poured the resin in.
Yeah. Well, Don's idea of doing just one at a time seems to be the more plausible, because we learned as I was pressing them, trying to get them close together, it changed the shape.
Yeah, I was watching that.
Yeah,
It will deform the
Yep.
ones next nearby.
we had to leave a bigger gap, and that's not really much different than what Donald's molds were.
It's what we would call false economy, where you say, well, what,
Yep.
I saved money, but you get
But we didn't.
the results are not as good.
Yep. Okay, well, that's a lesson learned. And I believe Catherine has gone on to college papers, but I know somewhere she has a scale that I can use. Yeah, Terry's gonna bring me the scale. That's wonderful.
There you go.
So we can try the next box on a portion per size. You can see when they're done, they're really very rubbery.
What is this that you're using here?
This is, where'd my box go? There it is. It's Amazing Super Mold Putty.
Okay, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's quite amazing. And it's a two-part product. Comes in these nifty little bottles, like Play-Doh. Thank you. No, they have to be hand mixed because it's not liquid.
Okay,
It is like
well,
really,
you have to weigh it out,
yep.
so you need a container.
Can't just set it on the scale. It's food safe.
Yeah. I didn't know how much.
So Don, tell me again what your portion was for each of the 9 that you made.
The issue done those.
0.5 ounces,
Combined,
not combined, each one of them.
0.5 for each one.
So yes,
So it comes out to 0.10. 0.1, sorry.
so yeah, I have the same scale. And I have mine set for pounds, ounces.
I have to get it to 0 out. I have. Yes, I see that. It goes to 166, but it won't 0. 1 pound, 6.6 ounces. Here or here? Ah,
There you go.
duh, it is on the side, not on the top.
The
Okay.
letters are on the top, the button's on the side.
All right, Don, 0.5, 0.05.
There's a big difference between 0.05 and 0.5.
There certainly
Yeah.
is.
Yep.
There we go. 0.05 of the yellow. 4. No, there we go. 0.5. All right. I have 0.05 of each.
Now, what I did was I laid the mold down flat. And after I worked the putty, I put it into a tube. And then I set it on the words first. And then I smushed it down. And then I flattened the top.
Okay. Move our scale. Because the cookie tray is now quite busy, use this, which has sides that I can roll against. And I'm going to try roll. It has lettering, but we don't care. That's on the back side. I'm going to try rolling it out, Don, to make it a level. Trying to get it where my rolling pin will stay on the sides. Okay.
I've rolled out clay that way, even though I've got a nice slab roller. Sometimes you just need to get the rolling pin and chopsticks and do your worst that way.
All right. So what do you think?
I think it looks a bit small.
Okay.
If you got enough room, I don't think so. There
Gonna
you go.
resize.
There you go. That's the ticket.
Baby powder on there. All right.
Could you scooch that a little bit more toward the center of the camera? There you go. Yeah.
Let me move some of this out of the way so I can reach that better.
Try using the rolling pin now.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That is very clever.
Years of working in a ceramic studio. There you go.
Okay.
That spreads the pressure out more evenly than your fingers will.
It is a much nicer impression.
Yeah.
Well, you have always made a really nice impression. Bum. All right.
Yep.
I'll be quiet.
I'll believe that when I see it. All right, we'll try another one there.
I was about to say rinse and repeat.
Yep.
Hey.
Trying to put it where you can see it, but it's not cooperating.
Yeah, but so can they. Oh, here.
0.5, 0.05.
And how did that mold look at 0.5?
Much better.
Now remember, I messed up my first one, so you might be up more out than I did.
See, Don? That looks better, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'll have to do at the other end of my little lid here, so I don't mess up that one. It does blend rather readily. Use Don's idea of rolling out a cylinder. Yeah, it needs to be finessed. That's it, finessed. Not quite. More finessing. What do you think? Think we've got it there?
Mm.
You're off camera, I'm afraid.
Oh, sorry. Thank you for letting me know.
I'm here.
That looks pretty good. So I've run out of space on that lid from the way I put it together. I don't dare move them at this stage.
Yeah, you have to let them completely dry before you fill it off.
Yep. So I think we'll say we have learned Donald's plan was a good one, to make individual molds because of the displacement factor when they're too close together, if they're all on the same mold. And you got
I think you're
9,
going.
Donald got 9 and a bit out of the one set for molds.
You should be able to get 10 because remember I screwed one up.
Okay, so, well, you handed me 8 and you said there was one that messed up, so that's 9. And then you
Yeah.
said you had a little bit left over.
Yeah, and between the two of you though, or between, oh, actually, you know, you can use the other set, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll get some more and redo that first batch because I don't think we're going to get a lot of success out of this. There's a couple there that are nice and a couple that are maybe and several that are not. So I'll get some more mold putty and we'll let this set cure. Now it says about 20 minutes.
Yeah, I did the first set for 20 minutes and then I just let them set for 30 minutes and then they were really nice at that time.
Yeah, I'm gonna say pushing it to 20 is gonna be asking for trouble. We'll just give it plenty of time. I don't think I'll try pouring that tonight.
Yeah.
But we have learned quite a bit. Donald's plan was a good one. We know we need a whole lot more molds to get as many completed as we are going to have. And we will have another A&S night when we'll have all of those molds handy. And we'll just pour resin like crazy for,
Yeah, I'm hoping that we can do this in person because that looks like it's going to be really absolutely messy fun.
yeah, I think it is fun. And I think trying to make the contrast better here. Just not cooperating with me. There's a good one.
Yep, that's a good one. Your new camera angle, though, the previous camera angle, the camera was pointing straight toward the dog's butt. It was, oh, there it is.
That was a lovely shot. Nobody needs that.
Better side.
Nobody needs that. He's very happy over there chewing on his bone,
Yes.
flashing the world.
Well,
So, hi, Chris. Glad you
let's,
could join us.
I'm making a pumpkin pie with the pumpkin I got at Mr. Mark Madness.
Oh. How soon should we be there?
It was a very fun event.
Sounds like it. So I'm gonna move our camera before I destroy everything. Talk about side panels. Oh, that's not the one that's giving the glare off my glasses. So we will be having an ANS night or two of pouring them. I think once we've got enough really functional molds, if we pour about 25 or 30 a night, a day, let them set for the 24 hours, because Alan, you missed the earlier discussion that these were our second attempt. Don and Merwin, is that right? Did I get it right?
Yes. Merwin.
Merwin, thank you. So Don and Merwin came by and we tried some trials. The first mix we put in didn't set up at all right away. And we thought, oh, we did something wrong. Maybe we didn't mix enough. So we dumped it out, wiped them clean, and poured another pair of prototypes. And they didn't set up right away, but we decided to give them a chance to sit. And I checked them after 6 hours. They were still very liquid, left them overnight. And at 22 hours, they were rigid enough to pull out without destroying them, but they were rather floppy and flexy like erasers. So after 24 hours, they were rigid and nice hard molds. So that's the plan, is let them have the full 24, because when I pulled them out at 22, there's a little bit of the yellow from the mold that stuck to them. Now, if that was consistent, it probably wouldn't show once we have the amber dye in them, but I'm kind of suspecting that won't occur if they're allowed to cure the full 24 hours before being pulled out. So we will have lots of fun playing with resin pours. And that's what I have for resin pouring. What else have you guys been doing?
I did, oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, did what?
yes.
Oh, I did some mundane sewing. I made a dress and a scarf kind of cowl thing.
Nice. That's good practice for getting ready for the other sewing, right?
Kind of, it was jersey though, so it's not really the same kind of fabric or anything. But
Yeah, totally different.
yeah,
What have I done? I played with resin. I've been working on lining a picnic basket for Catherine of the Lakes with fabric that apparently it is from an anime program.
oh yeah,
I thought it was just clouds, but it's a specific anime cloud.
huh, it's pretty.
It is pretty. I
I
thought it
like
was
it.
pretty, kind of an Asian looking cloud.
Yeah,
So I did that. What else has anybody else been doing?
I've been getting myself covered with sawdust.
Making game boards?
Let's see, do I have my camera on? Where's
Yes.
my camera?
yeah.
There it is. There we are. I can see everybody except for myself. That's wonderful. I know what I look like. So yeah, I'm making game boards. I was using a wood burner. This side is 9 Man's Morris. When we flip it over, it has the Roman game Rota, which is similar to tic-tac-toe, but a lot more complicated. So you get two games at one. But I'm taking a
Cool.
class tomorrow on CNC, so I could use a router to turn these things out. And I think I might make a dozen of these and just have those ready for largesse. Children are always looking for toys or something. And this would be a good game to play on long road trips because I'm using golf tees instead of stones. So you could be bouncing around in the back of the car and still be able to play a game and not lose the pieces.
Great idea. Well, we lost Brenier, and I'm sorry because I see he did make a comment that he has poured acrylic before, doing colored acrylic to accent file work on the handle of knives. So he would have been very helpful here. But we lost him. I'll get a hold of him and see if he's got any more tips and suggestions for us.
I've
He'll
done
be
some.
back in,
He will?
sorry.
Go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, we're not gonna be pouring tonight anyway.
No.
I've done some resin work with like modern modeling, so both pours and also sculpting
My phone
resin.
doesn't turn off until 10.
So when you do it, do you create your own mold? Alejandro?
I do, but I usually use UV resin, so you can do a lot more with it. So you can sculpt with it, and you can do all kinds of crazy stuff.
That's what
So this is definitely not the same kind of resin you're using. This is a two-part that needs to be mixed.
Oh yeah, I've done that a little
Have
bit,
you?
but no,
oh my god, you troll.
Any tips to pass along?
Oh, you're dead.
just
No, you're not.
slow
You're not
and
dead.
steady,
You're not dead.
basically, for when you're pouring it.
Okay. Any change in temperature that affects it more than, or light, or this one gave very little in the way of guidance.
I haven't noticed any difference, but it's pretty much always somewhat humid and not super hot in Oregon. So
That's for sure. Well, I was frustrated because Marion was our guide and she says, oh yeah, just mix according to the directions and let it set. And either it'll be thermoreactive or light reactive. Well, it says mix 1-to-1 by volume, hand stir 3 to 5 minutes, scraping the corners, sides, and bottom of the container. And then the other bottle continues and says, after mixing, wait 5 minutes to allow the bubbles to rise before applying the epoxy. And when pouring into your project, use what flows out. Do not scrape the sides to avoid unmixed product into your project. It didn't give any indication at all on time to set, and even a Google online brought us nothing. So it was definitely learning as we go.
I mean, it might be light reactive. If you want, I can bring over a UV flashlight. We could test to see if it hardens. It usually does harden most acrylic epoxies.
That would be cool. We could play with that. I'll message
there
Rick
just-
and we'll set something up. Alan?
I'd be there just to play with a UV light, you know me. My experience with resins in woodworking, a lot of people like poured resin tables, which I figure is going to be probably the equivalent of the avocado colored refrigerator. In 20 years, people are going to say, "Oh yeah, that's so 2020. Look at the poured resin stuff." It's impossible to give an estimate on how much time it takes. That's a function of how thick the resin is, how much the ratio is of volume to air surface, and that sort of thing. So there's a reason There's a reason they're being cagey. I'd be cagey too if I were them.
I see.
That is so.
Even the brand changes it completely, because I've seen model makers that have done like resin lakes that have dried in a couple hours, or I've had resin that I've done for basing on models that's taking days to dry.
Well, I'm glad this does not take days. It takes a day in the size we're doing, but days would be totally non-functional.
What you want to do is you want to avoid extremes in temperature, and I don't think that's going to be an issue this time of year.
No, not so.
But if you were living in Minnesota and doing this in an unheated garage, that'd be one problem. And if you were living in Eugene, Oregon in the middle of summer, gads, that might be another problem. But no, I think that you've actually got the best time. This is just perfect for what you're doing.
Summer's gone.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to make a note here. From the tips we're getting. Okay. And Alejandro has flashlight. And you and I can message and set up a time we can get together to try that. See if it helps at all.
Ventilation is also important. This is going to be Mr. Stinky here, I'm afraid.
It can also be toxic.
Well, yeah, stinky toxic. You say potato, I say potato.
We did the ones, the prototypes that we played with outside, just in case it was really stinky toxic. And it really wasn't terribly offensive to my nose, which is not reliable. So, Donald, did you notice or
No, it wasn't bad.
There wasn't a bad smell.
Okay.
And I've worked with some that is really terrible and stuff, and this stuff wasn't.
And I noticed a little from one of the bottles when we opened it, but that dissipated fairly quickly.
But not smelling bad doesn't necessarily mean toxic. I've had resin that didn't smell bad that I got super sick from using it inside, and I've had stuff that made my living room smell for weeks. So
okay, we'll be doing that outside. At the very least, under a tent if the weather gets inclement, but definitely outside then. Good tip. Thank you.
You have a sorry, you have a nice covered back porch. That would probably be perfect.
Oh, it used to be covered, and then we had more windstorms. It's not covered.
Oh dear. Oh well, this too shall pass.
Yeah, I need to find someone who has the skills and the time and the devotion to me to come and help me fix it. Haven't found that person yet. So we figured out that it takes about 1 teaspoon of the combined product to make each leaf. So we know we have plenty out of these 2-gallon size containers to make the 800 or more that are
It's
requested.
2 leaves.
Yeah,
It was the 1 teaspoon and 1 teaspoon that made 2 leaves.
right. So it takes 1 teaspoon of combined product to make each leaf. If 1 + 1 is 2, and we made 2, it's 1 teaspoon per leaf.
Yes.
Yeah. So it'll go quite a long ways. We'll be able to make a good amount of these once we've figured it out.
another tip is if you're getting bubbles, just bump it a little bit on the table. It usually gets the bubbles out. Sometimes you just have to, if you take a safety pin, you can pop the bubble and it will bring it out.
Okay. Well, we were making quite small batches using these little glass containers to mix it in. So, you know, we only mixed 2 teaspoons at a time. It was a little hard to give it any place for the bubbles to go. And I'm a little hesitant to make a great big batch because we're going to be pouring small bits at a time. We'll measure carefully for exactly what we need. Hello.
I think you're correct there because if you thought that the meter was running on what you were doing today, boy, wait until you start working with resin because resin will wait for nobody. So
unfortunately, this doesn't.
Yeah, small batches would probably be much better.
But this really did not set up quickly at all.
I'm not sure what we're talking about. You're talking about the resin or the putty?
The resin.
Yeah,
When
the putty starts setting up pretty quick.
Yeah, we learned that tonight.
Yep.
But the resin is not so much. This particular brand, at least, stayed quite liquid for several hours. And it was, I think it was about 75, 76 when we started, and it cooled off to maybe high 60s. And it still it didn't set up for hours. So
I don't think that it's that temperature sensitive that 10 or 15 degrees is going to make a difference.
I didn't think.
I've seen types of resin that you put in a pressure cooker of all things, or something along those lines. And yeah, there's those that are sensitive to UV light. There's a number of different resins out there that I see being used by woodworkers. You might drop a note to Dame Johanna. She was working on a poured resin table that she wanted to make. I don't know if she's made any progress with that.
I'll ask her.
Yeah, it's certainly should be a person to ask.
Maybe she knows this particular brand.
You might call the good folk at Woodcrafters, because as I say, poured resin is very popular with woodworkers, and they probably have one or two people who've done a lot of poured resin with their woodworking.
Okay. Well, we won't be replacing the resin. We just need someone that knows the details about this brand.
Just so you ask them, and they'll have suggestions for resins.
Yep. And we might get suggestions next time, should we do this again for something on a better.
What brand is it?
Clear Wave.
Well, I will go onto the crafting forums that I usually go onto and see if anybody has any techniques.
That would be terrific. Yeah. So beyond this, my next several projects are some band weaving for, I'm creating a Christmas gift for someone that requires a nice wide band for shoulder straps. So I'm going to be weaving some of that. And I am going to finish the shoes I didn't complete before our pilgrimage, because I want the shoes.
Cool.
Did any of the rest of you make shoes after the pilgrimage?
No, where did you get the pattern?
Rodnavar was the one who taught our class.
Dave Alter in Mundane Life.
And he taught us how to make a pattern. And I'm going to find his paper for you. There's a thing you can print. If you go back to that class, it has a handout that you can print from a link that he had. It looks like, whoops. I had a feather stuck to my finger. This is the pattern. You put your foot down and draw around your foot, and then you add the inches designated there for each portion of it. And this has, it's a 3-page guide on how to make the shoe. So that is in the links for the class from the shoe class. Right now, those are all still available.
All right, I'll go look
We're
at
gonna
it.
have, what's that? What'd you say?
I said I'll go get it.
Facebook is making a change, and I don't know how it's going to affect us, so we're going to have to do some exploring. They sent notice that as of a month or two from now, I forget the date, they are going to remove classes as a designated event. And anything that's a class will be erased. So we may have to go in and rename everything. I'm not sure how they've been showing up on the events for, okay, I think they're showing up as a meeting. We might be okay, but we have to do some exploring there so we don't lose all of those. You know, Facebook always trying to bring us something new and wonderful. So if you look on, let's see, that may not come through. Let's see if I can darken it. Oh, that didn't work. I'll try that again. Okay. At the top of the listing on my mobile app, it has a list of categories. And there's events for local this week, classes, friends, groups, online following, nightlife, that kind of thing. They're going to remove classes. So if you've got anything from another group that's listed as a class, you might want to find a way to save that by recategorizing it or something. They always try to help us by updating things, don't they? Our gold key lady has been working herself raggedy. She's told me that she had 17 people this last month over to work the garb. So everybody's frantically getting ready for 12th night and Yule.
I need to get in together with her. She offered to have us over, and we haven't found time yet.
Yeah, she told me that you were going to be coming over. She is looking forward to clothing the barony. She's really a gung-ho go-getter. I really admire her. Appreciate everything she's done. You know, it just occurred to me, if putting the one mold in too close to another on a solid sheet causes distortion, could we not use these prototypes we made as further mold makers and put them adjacent to each other to prevent that distortion by leaving them in as we press more next to them?
And until they dry, yeah.
Until the mold is dry, yeah. That might be something to play with. I was looking for a way to have less waste on the edges. That's why I was trying to get a sheet. And if we could get them closer together without that distortion, then we'd get more molds out of each package. So that's a possibility. So Yule is a potluck. Did you know that? Anybody?
I know I've been tasked with making something gluten-free.
Aha.
So like a dessert, I guess, or something that's gluten-free. So that's what I'm going to be working on.
Nice. I'm just kind of giving a heads up because not everybody reads all the event information. So it is going to be a potluck and we all get to bring a designated thing. It won't be just bring whatever.
I feel called out. I should check and see whether I'm supposed to bring soup or salad.
I'm not sure she's found the designations for everybody yet, but definitely check in. I know she's working hard on things. Whole lot going on in the barony lately. We've got council coming up and then the meet and greet for the baronial candidates. That'll be fun.
Then we've got the sergeant's exam.
Sergeant's exams.
Yeah, what should have been a fairly low-key potluck event has become very significant.
It's going to be a packed night from the sound of things. A lot of court, a lot of awards, a lot of Bardic. I hear there's going to be a good Bardic. The feast. It's going to be a fun day. But you guys are not awake, or I'm really boring.
I'm very tired. I'm not feeling good today.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Zoom seems like it's not very conducive to conversations.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
we're just enjoy listening to you.
Oh, you're so tactful. I do appreciate tactful people. Yesterday, I wasn't feeling well. That smoke made us all feel ill here.
Yeah. I had dental work done this morning. It was
Oh.
pretty minor, but I have dental anxiety, so I get really flipped out every time I have to have any work done.
Well, that would make me feel ill.
Yeah.
So I'm filling up spaces for ANS nights, and I'm asking if there's anything in particular people would like. We've got some Scribble coming up. We've got illumination. We have chain mail making. I don't have the right paper in front of me to jog my poor little brain. Heraldry garment, how to make a basic tunic dress, curing olives, and black work. So is there anything else that you can think of that you'd particularly like to have for an ANS night?
Yep.
At all? Speak out.
Yes, I would like to see perhaps a combination arts and science archery. We could do arrow building.
Are you volunteering?
Oh, I was going to have you run that. Yeah.
Boy, would you be disappointed. Okay. And the next thing I'm going to ask is Tuesday nights are becoming not so good for people. It's dark outside, so we can't really do outside activities when we're working from 7 to 9 or whatever. School is in force now, so people with kids don't want to be out from 7 to 9. They need to be home getting ready for school the next day. So looking at other schedules and people who are otherwise committed, what would you say to a Sunday afternoon? Would any of you find that difficult?
That would be good for me. Be easier.
Yeah, that would be easier for us too.
That sounds good to me, and Zab is nodding furiously. So
I have strong feelings on the issue.
Speak up.
Yeah, the play space has a class that I wanted to take, but I haven't been able to take because it's offered only on Tuesday evenings. Gosh, I don't know what I would do with my time. Saturdays are not to be messed with. That belongs to my Lord and Master. She will hurt you badly, but Sundays she's supposed to be in the office getting ready for court. So I don't think she would even notice my absence.
So I'm thinking Sunday afternoon because we have some folks that spend their morning at church. And giving them
breakfast.
time.
Yeah.
Or
Your church, my church, yeah.
So giving them time to have lunch after church. I'm thinking maybe 2 in the afternoon.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, I will.
concur.
Yeah. All right. That's what I'll aim at then. That means things that are already on the calendar may get shifted around, so. That's why I haven't been filling in all of these things that I just listed off that we're gonna do on a specific date, because I knew we were gonna start changing, so. I will propose that, and I'm sure it'll be approved.
As long as I'm coming up with suggestions for archery / arts and science, would there be any interest in making arm guards, especially for combat archery? That'll be an arm guard that protects your forearm and it protects the back of your hand.
For instance, made of leather.
Absolutely.
I know several that would be interested. Are any of the rest of you here interested in that?
Yeah.
Yes, I am interested.
Okay,
There you go.
I'll add it to the list.
I will put this, I will make a pattern available so that if people cannot be there in person, at least they can download the pattern and watch the steps as other people do it. It's not a perfect thing to do over Zoom, but it's better than out.
Okay, so as soon as I've got the Sundays set up with Murkov's help, I'll be in touch with you and you, Tori, about
Okay.
setting up dates for things for like calligraphy or illumination or archery / ANS stuff.
Cool.
Yay! Right
If-
now, it looks like we're filled up through the first of the year.
I don't know if this would be interesting, or anybody would be interested in this, but I could teach people on how to read historical fencing manuals, which is a lot harder than you would think.
How to read historical what?
The
Fencing.
historical martial arts manuals.
Oh, I'm sure there are those who would be interested. And are these in like Old English or?
Sometimes it's learning how to look at multiple different translations or how to translate older languages that you don't understand.
German and Italian, I would imagine. Two different schools I'm aware of.
German,
I would
Italian,
encourage-
French. The English is way different than anything you could ever imagine right now.
Translating.
Yet they come.
No cursing in another language.
It's Old English.
Understanding Sweatnum's about understanding, like reading all about his boat metaphors throughout the entirety of it and trying to piece that together. So, I mean, that's what my ANS stuff has been, is more the sciences of fighting, historical fighting, and I can help people with that.
Cool. I'm sure there'd be an interest.
I would give that a strong thumbs up because I'm always trying to bring people into arts and science from other disciplines in the SCA, and this would be a good example.
Totally agree. I'm trying to get some dancing and music started up, but we've got so many conflicts. Every time I say, hey, are you free for any of these dates? Well, no, I'm busy there. So we'll make it happen.
We have a small window, as we get closer to the end of the year, of course, things get extremely chaotic. So we have to understand that we're just going to have to stop doing arts and science in December. Because everybody's going to say, well, I can't do it that we can't do. No, Mr. Bill. But come January, things will be quiet.
Yeah, December has, because we're now shifting to Sundays, I'm not sure how that's going to work out because, hush, I had some lined up for December. We were going to have a little fun thing, but we may have to redo that.
I wish you all the luck in the world.
Yeah, exactly. There is a lot of stuff going on. December 20th, which is 4 days before Christmas. I know that. And my goal for that, when it was a Tuesday, we'll have to change that, was to have just an ANS, very relaxed, comfortable potluck Christmas, no, Yule celebration together, just for the fun of it. So looking at moving everything, I'll revisit that and see if there's an interest. But yes, it's going to be very busy. Well, thank you for all the tips on this. That's been very helpful. Chris,
I
any
have to get
suggestions?
moving. It's been fun.
Thank you so much. Tell Zad we missed him.
The only book I've read on fencing is Polish Saber by I forgot what the guy's name is. But yeah, Polish is another language.
Do we have anyone who can translate from Polish for us?
I wish. No, but I just read
You gotta go, so we'll see you later.
Thank you so
Okay.
much, Donald. Appreciate both of you so much.
Richard Marsden.
Not a problem.
Richard Marsden's book. He translated it or had someone translate it.
Well, it looks like we'll have chainmail and we'll arrange to schedule the translation on the old fencing manuals. And with Alan's archery crossovers, we'll get some stuff going there.
Cool.
I'd like to get some more heraldic things going on too. That seems to be something that's quietly ignored too often.
I was going to teach a chainmail class at Great Western Org, but then no one came. But then I went to the children's table and saw a couple of kids.
That's cool. John is thinking of it, has offered to do a chainmail class for us.
That's always been very popular.
Yep. It's fun because even with a little time, you can make yourself some small thing and say, look, I made chainmail. And be inspired to go on and make a whole suit. Just for the look.
Oh no, don't do that.
No?
Way too much work.
They weigh a ton. And
Oh,
I
they
understand they're
don't.
not terribly practical.
No. The weight is evenly distributed though, so it's actually more comfortable than you think.
They were pretty, according to John, they were very effective as armor, and that's why they were worn for hundreds of years, because they did work.
But why do our guys
It's not
not like them?
practical for what we do.
What?
Why do our fighters not like to wear them?
I don't know, because they're heavy, maybe, or they think they're heavy. I mean, back when John was making them out of hangers, back in the old days, he was using hangers literally, and
Yep.
so it was all
Mhm.
steel and everything, and those were heavy. But the medieval ones were lighter because they were riveted, so they could make them lighter, but they were still strong. So I think some of that was a misunderstanding of what the medieval mail was actually like.
Well, I look
Also,
forward to John's class.
So they're good for stopping cuts. They don't do anything to absorb blunt force.
So for our style fighting, that's
Right.
Nor
Yeah.
would they be any good for stopping a rapier, say the tip
Well-
of the rapier came off.
Well, as weapons, as the weapon design changed over the centuries, armor design would change to accommodate or, to protect against the new weapon technology. So that's why it fell out of favor eventually.
well, I think it looks really cool, and I'd love to hear them walk by, chinkity, chinkity, chinkity.
Yeah. Yep. The first time I ever saw John, he was wearing his mail and he had a barrel helm on. And this was a long time ago. And he was the only guy at this fighter practice that actually looked medieval. And I took a picture of him. I didn't know who he was. And I don't even think I saw his face. I just took a picture of him because he looked so cool. And then, later I met him I actually met him and talked to him. But that was the first time I ever saw him.
So it was kind of a serendipitous moment.
Yep.
That's so sweet. You really do have a knight in shining armor then. It's not just a saying for you.
That's true.
Like that.
I still see a lot of heavy fighters wearing chainmail, regardless of how useless it is.
I couldn't hear all of that, Chris. Try it again.
I still see a lot of heavy fighters wearing chainmail, regardless of how useless it is.
Good. I like that. From a purely selfish, non-fighting perspective, I like that.
For what we do in the SCA, your heavy padded gamberson is probably more appropriate. But
Yeah.
chainmail wasn't just Europe. I'm seeing all sorts of different types of chainmail in China and Japan as well. So no
Oh, yeah.
matter where you went in the world, we said, well, we've got these little thin metal wires. I wonder what would happen if, hey, you know, I think we're onto something here.
Yep. Oh yeah.
It could be that they came up with the idea independently, or it could just be something that Roman times they said, well, you know, we need to trade something for this bolt of silk. How about this? They go, oh yeah, I'll take that back home with me. So I'm not sure exactly how much was by trade or how much was independent. Probably a little of both.
Probably.
The thing about Japanese armor is never at any point were they willing to sacrifice safety for mobility. If they were not fully articulated, they would say, no, I'm not doing this. So your Japanese armor tended to be smaller plates of lamellar instead of your great big honking breastplates and such.
So you say lamellar, but I don't know what that really is.
That'd be small plates of steel that are sewn or riveted or something. But yeah, you've got small independent. With the Japanese, they would be sewn together with silk. So you've got these tiny little plates that are all sewn together with overlapping scales.
And is that
Let me see.
different than plate mail? Is that the same?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
It's your to use Dungeon and Dragon terms, your armor class is lower, but you don't have the dexterity points taken away. How'd that? Let me see what I can find for you.
Okay.
The problem is you'll frequently find people in the SCA trying to sneak it in, especially your Viking reenactors who say, well, you know, I'm wearing this type of armor. You say that it's not historically accurate, but you know, my character, you know, he traveled widely, and everybody else is going, come on, no. Byzantine, perhaps. Viking, no, stop that. Just stop it.
She was. Could you go clean it up? Sorry.
Checking your door because Ebony was down there.
Dog
Let's
thing.
see.
Sorry.
Check. Here we go.
Those kind of persona shenanigans is part of why I never developed a persona. I mean, I have a period, but I don't go any further than that. I don't have a life story or anything like that. I'm just like, you know, England, 14th century. That's good enough for me.
Okay, Bonnie, I posted something in chat. See whether that works for you.
I'm going to access that on my phone.
Oh, sorry.
I'm not good at putting another screen on the television when I'm doing it. I'm using my TV as my screen. So
Technology, gotta love it.
yeah. Let me log in here. If it gives me feedback, I'll quickly log out, but I'm going to try this.
Recording in progress.
Turn my volume.
Okay.
It's not going to give me that because you posted before I logged in.
Okay, tell you what, I'll just,
I'm gonna log out.
out. I will
Sorry.
just send it to you as a Facebook message. How's
There
that?
you go. That works beautifully.
Oh dear.
Not working for you either?
No, I've just got a message in from Becky.
Uh-oh.
Yes, indeed. I may have to leave pretty soon.
We appreciate your being here while you were. There it came
Yeah.
through the message.
Sunday, I'm
I'm on Earth.
sad to say, Sunday, Becky was attacked and was fairly badly beaten by this new boat that she bought.
Oh,
It's an inflatable stand-up paddleboard, or as we joke about it, we call it the sit-up stand-up paddleboard. And in order to get it into the back of the truck, you know, it's a 10-foot long board, so we had to let some air out so that we can get it into the back of her truck. What neither one of us had thought of, and we should have, is the back of her truck got warmer and warmer. And there's a funny thing about air pressure and temperature. So that when she tried to remove the paddleboard, she crawled into the back of the truck, tried to pull the boat out, and it thrashed her. It just tossed her out of the back of the truck like she was a rag doll.
oh my God.
Wow.
I shouldn't laugh. I didn't laugh. Nobody heard me laugh. I did not laugh. She landed very, very, very hard on her tailbone.
Ow.
And while we are making a number of jokes about her butt being in a sling and, you know, being butt hurt and things like that, it's all true. So she's complaining that she hurts really bad. I think there's not much I can do. It's not something I can kiss and make better. Oh dear. But I should be there, and yeah, it's out of solidarity.
Yes, she needs
At
your
that.
support. And maybe some deep heat or something.
Well,
A heat
yeah,
pad,
and
an ice pack.
well, she needs somebody to run in, fetch her things, so she doesn't have to be constantly getting up and having to find them herself. So I will log off. But before I do, there's one more thing I wanted to do for show and tell, if I may, with your kind permission.
Of course.
It's a teacup. So
Hold
you can
it
see
still.
it's just your.
Hold it still.
Huh?
Oh, that's adorable. I love that. Let me see the inside. Very nice. You've been to the ceramic
But it's
shop.
got holes in it.
That is so cool.
That's amazing.
This is the ocarina cup you were telling me about.
This is my ocarina cup. There are others just like it. This one is mine. So yes, Dame Johanna has one, and that one's in blue. And so we're going to have to start sitting down and having practice sessions and pick up a song or a round or a rondel or something that we could play together.
I love that.
That's awesome.
You can present your music at Yule during the Bardic.
This is the plan. If not at Bardic, then certainly during the potluck, we might just have our little drinks and then start playing.
I love it.
Okay, well, I will. This is definitely my cue to send a message back to Becky saying I'm coming home, because I'm getting messages now saying ow, 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 ow.
Oh,
Just-
we'll send
Uh-uh.
her our support and love too. Not that we can help any, but
ibuprofen, so lots of ibuprofen. So we will speak anon about further arts and science possibilities and projects and such. I will have much more to say, but yes, if you're going to be shifting to Sundays, then I will definitely sign up for the Tuesday evening ceramics class, hand-built class, because I would like to do some hand-built mugs or steins, perhaps as largesse, perhaps as prizes for Eggles. And I would really like to make some ceramic pilgrim flasks, which are basically ceramic canteens. I see a lot of people who are making canteens out of leather and lining it with pitch, and my reaction is yuck.
icky.
But everyone says, no, it's not that bad. And I go, not that bad, it's not good. But if I make people ceramic canteens that they go back to Roman times. We can't even start talking about this is period correct. Heck yeah. Some of them were made specific. If you went to the shrine of Saint so-and-so, you'd come back with Saint so-and-so holy water in this small little flask. And some flasks were more practical. This is the sort of thing that you would be, carrying water for your own drinking purposes instead of holy water to take home for prezzies. So yeah, I will be tinkering with hand-built canteens and or pilgrim flasks.
I
So I
love
will
that.
I'll sign up for the Tuesday hand building class, and everybody is going to get a mug whether they want one or not, by gum. There'll be mugs, and I'll have more mugs than I know what to do with. So there.
And you will come and
Reward.
teach the rest of us to do it, right? Crickets?
Yeah. You have no idea how messy
Oh,
a
I can
ceramics
imagine.
lab is. Yeah, it's not quite as bad as a wood shop, but it's like saying, well, Ellen, could you bring your lathe in and teach a class? And I said, and whose house am I going to set this thing up in? It's just no.
Ceramics might wait for spring.
I could probably offer this. I could probably offer to have ceramic greenware, which is stuff that hasn't been in the kiln yet. I could bring this in and bring in some slips. A slip is a colored clay, and then people could paint using slips these greenware mugs, and then I could take them in and put them in the kiln and fire them for everybody.
That would be really cool.
Most of your ceramic studios are extraordinarily protective about what they'll allow to be put in the kiln. A lot of places will say, if you didn't buy it here, you cannot put it in the kiln here. So there, because if you've got clay that is not the right type of clay, you're not only destroying your project, but you're destroying everybody else that's sharing the kiln with you. And that's not how you win friends. So what I could do is I could just use their clay and in their studio make greenware mugs, and they just leave one day and they come back the next day covered with slip, and clay is clay is clay is clay as far as slip is concerned. If they see me making the clay or the clay slip, they'll say, okay, yeah, that's legit. But if I were to show up just out of the blue with a box full of ceramics and say, I'd like to fire these, they'll say, no, forget it. Not going to happen. Not this lifetime. Too many bad experiences.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, if people wanted to have, a coffee mug, beer tankard, whatever, that they themselves have painted, we could certainly see about getting that done. But that would be a discussion for another day. So I will go and see how Miss Miss Talbert, poor thing, is doing. So take care, everybody.
All right,
Bye-bye.
have a good evening, Alan.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.
So looking over our mold from tonight, there are probably 3 impressions that are good enough to use. The rest have kind of filled in because it was getting too set and it wouldn't hold the mold. It was too springy and the edges disappeared. So
How are the ones doing that where you did each one separately? Are those good?
yeah, those are good.
Okay.
So I'll get another package of mold making material and we'll make a bunch. The ones that we did separately turned out very nice.
Awesome. That looks good.
These are the 2 we did tonight.
Yeah, those look
They
good.
held their shape nicely. So that was an interesting lesson. I have so much sewing to do between now and 12th night. I have a lot of embroidery to get done, shoes that I want to finish, and garb. So
Yeah.
much.
I know. I want to make a headdress to go with my houppelande. And I'm
Nice.
gonna, the houppelande's way too long for me, so I'm gonna shorten it and use the pieces I cut off to make this kind of like an escoffian, you know, those 15th century headdresses with the roll thingy that
Yes.
goes around the head. I'm gonna do one of those, but without the side panel thingies, just the roll, because that was an Italian thing. I was looking at pictures of Italian houppelandes from the period, and a lot of the women were wearing these. There was just this giant fat roll on their heads with no side pieces. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Really?
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah. It'll match the dress and yeah.
I was
I've-
one of the 100 people to visit Helen this week, so she's got me started making just the basic shift so I can have a starting point at least. That's what I'm working on right now too.
That's
Is that
good.
linen? Is it linen?
It is, yeah. I don't know how well you can see it on here, but
Very nice.
it'll be a starting.
Excuse me.
She is amazing. Holy moly. She like whipped out half of this in her little studio and just in the time we were there.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah.
She has become a gem of the barony, I'll tell you.
Oh yeah.
Just what she did with Gold Key itself is so incredible. And then what she's helping other people accomplish, pretty impressive.
Very talented.
I have been working on a veil for quite a while because I'm slow and I only work on it a little at a time. Take it out of my basket. The edge that I'm
Ooh,
putting,
that's pretty. That's pretty.
yeah. But I've only accomplished about 2 feet and I have 6 total to do. So it's a slow go. And I'm thinking I might add a little dangly bead of some sort on extending down from the gold beads.
That'd be pretty.
So it has some motion to it.
Yeah.
But first I have to get the beads on. Then we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah.
My dogs are so spoiled. 8:30 every night they get a little piece of bread with some salmon flavored CBD in it because they both have pain.
Ah.
It calms them down and they go to sleep. So if they don't get it at 8:30, they start fussing. And Ryder has been back and forth to the oil bottle about 6 times here. And he's pointing at me quietly.
That's cute.
It is cute. And it's an improvement because previously his bedtime was 8:30 and he wanted me to go with him. And he was
Oh.
pushy about it. So it's
Yeah.
gotten better.
I should probably head out too. Josh is out of town this week, so the kids have been a little wild, and the animals. I think everyone just knows things are different when he's gone. So sorry, I was a little distracted.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you. It's been interesting. We all learned together,
Definitely.
and I'll figure it out. And when I've got the molds ready, we'll have a pouring day for ANS. Might even set up a special event so we can just hang around and pour resin, just so we can all say, "Yep, we did that."
They're gonna look so awesome when they're all done. I'm excited.
They are really
Yeah.
gonna look cool. I'm excited about them. Can you imagine that looking like amber?
They're gonna be beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, those would be something I'd put on a regular necklace or hang from my pouch all the time.
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
All right.
Tell the kids hi for us.
I will. Thank you.
I
Thanks so
have a
much.
couple of red and blue things to complete and send your way.
I've been telling them about the games. They're excited to learn new. They're always excited to learn new games. That'll be really fun. Thanks for getting that together.
Yeah, you bet.
All right.
Blame Alan. It's his thing.
Yeah, you did great with those. They look awesome.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks again. Have a good night.
All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Tori and
Yeah.
Chris. Alan made a couple of those games for Honora and Finn, her kids. And he wanted drawstring bags made in their preferred color to keep the little pieces in. So that's what we're discussing.
So whose color, which one was which? Do you remember?
I think Honora is red and Finn is blue.
Oh, okay.
Well, once you have more of these made, you could make this again, just put them all in.
Yep, that's what we were discussing. I'm gonna give that to you. So here we have bread and CBD oil. And down here,
Really?
we have the egg.
Adobe.
And there's, and the other one on the other side.
And then just the recording, right?
Oh, God, no. I think we should turn off the recording, don't you think?
Yeah.
I think we should turn off the recording. We might let Kath edit so that that's not in there. Where is my little record button?
Yes. Yes.